Welcome to the Journey to Forever podcast, where we discuss the highs and lows of life and love. Join us, your hosts, Flo and
Joe,
for a weekly recalculation of our routes as we navigate the twists and turns with candid conversation, comfort food, and laughter. Welcome back, Forever family, to episode 30 of the Journey to Forever podcast. I'm Flo, the recovering overlover, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host,
Joe.
Yes, my handsome co-host, the man with the deep voice. On this podcast, we are focused on rewriting the tale of forever love, one conversation at a time. If you love this content, then practice your commitment by subscribing or following this podcast. Also, we welcome your feedback, so please rate this podcast or feel free to send us a voice message with feedback. The links to do either one of those can be found in our Instagram bio at Journey to Forever TT. As you may have guessed from the opening song clips, we are discussing money and relationships, and more specifically, love after a job layoff. But as usual, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, we always start with the amuse-bouche, the appetizer. What's your story?
Good day, folks. As usual, Flo is being all fancy. All right. Flo, got a story to share about a natural occurrence or event, a weather event you got caught in?
Yes, I had to visit the southern parts of Trinidad, and there was heavy rain for a few days. It just so happened that the rain let up enough for me to drive south, all the way southeast, on the southeastern corner. Had to get some stuff done and was heading back home. But the torrential downpour resumed, and my heart was in my throat for the entire almost 3-hour drive back home because there were floods everywhere. I remember switching on the radio. Typically, I would just listen to music, but I remember switching on the radio specifically to listen to any news report about flooding up ahead so that I could possibly take an alternative route. Anyway, I got to this point on my return journey where my car was surrounded and floating in water. I called my mother in a panic because I was like, Mom, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this flood water. Just stay on the phone with me. And I began describing to her where I was along the journey because the roads were impassable, but it made no sense to be stuck right there. So I had to just continue moving, continue driving. Thankfully, the car didn't stall. Nothing happened to the car. It just needed a really good clean out afterwards. But it was really, really frightening to see so many of our roads blocked with water. I can't fathom being stranded or cut off from the rest of wherever you're living because of water.
Yeah, I can see that. That is, what would I say? It's part of island living, I guess, you know?
Yeah, but I never experienced that like ever before, and I don't ever want to experience it afterwards.
I've been fortunate enough to never have been in such a situation. I have seen floods, but where I was at work and the road flooded, and I talking really bad. But I was like, I'm like an hour and a half walk from work to go home. So I say, okay, I walked home.
Okay, you all right. Makes sense.
I said, no sense waiting here. No. That's all right. I'll reach home, I'll dry off, I'll be all good again, everything will be all right.
If I had to walk that, because it was 3 hours drive. Yeah. So I don't know about walking that. No. That was impossible for me. And yeah, I would have preferred to have stayed in the office overnight as opposed to try to walk home. But anyway, people, we know that the climate, the weather all over the world is in a tizzy these days. It's upside down. So we hope that you're safe wherever you are.
Yes, with the serious matter of global warming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who believes it doesn't exist, but it exists. The sun is hotter. You could see what the winters are like in the States.
Right.
And
the hurricanes are more devastating.
Yes, it's getting worse. And whoever said climate change isn't real is an idiot. Yes, I said it.
All right. Before he goes on a rant, let's get Joe's story. Joe, your question today is, got a story to share about a famous historic site you visited?
Oh, yeah. It was the first time I went to the United States. That's a long time ago. I was 14 and I spent my 15th birthday over there. And I remember we head over to Washington, D.C. and driving by, saw at the end of this long street, saw the White House. So it was like, what? So it looked exactly like it was on TV and all the movies, and down this long street at the end of the street. I have no idea what the names of the streets are, but yeah, it was, how did I say it? It was really enjoyable, you know. It was like, it was in a fantasy of sorts. It was nice, yeah. So the White House, never got the chance to go inside, maybe someday. But yeah, it was nice.
I agree. I think I've stood up and watched it, taken pictures from outside, but never had the opportunity to go in. So maybe that's something that we should add to our list of travels. Remember the cross-country food tour that you wanted to do post-pandemic?
Yes.
I think we need to include a stop there on that trip. Yeah. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, check out the episode titled Post-Pandemic Plans. Yes, but as we move from stories, what's your story question specifically? We are going into a story, a true life story that we've never mentioned or discussed before in a podcast. I'm sure you can relate to this story because my situation wasn't a singular one. Many people faced layoffs because of the pandemic. So sometime last year, I had the unfortunate experience of having my employment contract not be renewed. Let's just put it like that. And I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but for me, I felt different emotions. Joe, I'm looking at your face now. What are you thinking in this moment?
No, I'm listening. I am listening really and truly. I'm listening.
Okay.
Getting your views. I will chime in shortly.
Okay. But when I learned the news, I messaged you, I believe, and I called my mother. Or did I call you? But you and my mother were the two first people that I spoke to. I mentioned it. Joe knows that I would have had my speculations because they were kind of hints of something coming down the pipeline. So he and I would have had conversations about the possibilities. But I think no matter how much you think you are prepared for a situation, it is never the same until you experience it. It somehow that reality hitting you, it hits different. So for me, I was ambivalent. And I say ambivalent because I was happy and sad and at the same time. I mean, we're like, what? Happy and sad at the same time? Yes.
That's not a shock.
Well, it could have been shock, but I was sad because, yeah, when you lose your job is a big part of your professional identity. So you have to deal with the loss of your sense of security, because you're like, okay, your main form of income is no longer there. You lost your routine because you're accustomed getting up at a particular day, time every day to go to work to a specific place and do a specific thing. So that whole routine gets thrown out the window. At the same time, I was happy because it was a change that I desired change for a long time. So that was the happy portion of it. But like I said, I still got lots of feelings. Lots of feelings. But what were your initial feelings when I called you and confirmed, hey, I'm definitely gonna lose my job?
My first thing was, okay, keep you calm. That's all it was. But it wasn't that hard because I expected more emotion from you, but it never came because I guess it was something that was prepared for, had time and was thinking about it. And I wasn't worried because you already had plans, meaning you had stuff that you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And how I saw it was, okay, now she has the opportunity without any distraction to do that. It's, how would you put it? It's the word go, basically. It's
okay.
Go time. Let's, without having any distraction, you wouldn't be able to procrastinate. They basically made the decision for you and they set you forward. And I know you being who you are, you wouldn't look down on an opportunity like that. You see it as, all right, cool. This is God's will, basically, right? I gotta do what I gotta do.
I agree with all that. At the same time, here's where the ambivalence comes in. I wanted to be the one to walk away. Ladies, you know that thing where the man ain't, and you really want to break up with him, but then you're hesitating. And then he come and tell you, well, we done now. You wanted to be the one to make the decision, but then the decision
have the last word,
right? And but the decision is made for you. So I think that was the part that had me a bit sour because I wanted to end the relationship on my own terms. So I was upset about that. But like I said, I even though I can talk about this now, I know that I also grieved because I remember having a conversation with my coach and telling the person, listen, I am numb at this point in time. And this was probably now about 2 weeks after the fact. And I was numb and I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling. I know I'm feeling something, but I'm not sure how I'm feeling. And the encouragement was, listen, you have to feel all the feelings. It's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be disappointed, even though this was something that you wanted. Part of you wanted it. It's okay to feel. And that would be my first tip to anyone who has gone through this, is about to go through this. Really feel all the feelings.
Let me ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that by that happening, did you feel like the company thought you wasn't good enough?
I did.
After you believed to yourself that you gave them your all, you were there for them, you 100 and X amount percent.
Yeah.
Then they say, well, we no longer need your services. So is it that you felt somewhat neglected, like scorned, like I've given you all?
Okay, so I have no ill feelings, but yes. So going back to the analogy of the breakup, right? The thing about it is, how much you would have poured into that relationship. And for that other person to say that they are ready to end the relationship, it makes you question your value. Yes. So, of course, I knew how much I poured into it. how many times I went above and beyond. So it was hurtful. But I would say that the most helpful thing for me in really feeling all those feelings was literally just writing. It was, dear boss. And in this instances, there had many different levels of bosses. So you make up an anonymous name and you pour your feelings into the words. And then afterwards, I tore up the paper and that was my signal.
That was your letter of resignation. Yes. Yeah. Your letter of resignation.
Yeah.
Be it to a fictional character.
Yeah.
But it was clarity. You got the comfort of being to get certain things off your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can understand that.
I remember doing that. It was a Saturday. I remember Joe watching me like, woman, why are you crying? And I was like, I just expressing some feelings here. And I was like, could I just have today, please? And I just allowed myself to feel all the feelings on that one day. And because for me, I had to focus on not why me, but why is this happening for me? Like, what is the moment in this that I need to seize? Right? And Joe alluded to it. There were plans that I had in my head for a long time. So I had to stop wallowing and really face the reality. This is not something negative that's happening. An opportunity was created for you and you need to seize every bit of that opportunity.
I believe at some small bit that you did not like not being in control. Because you were not in control at that moment.
Excuse me, Forever Family, why is Joe reading me like this? I don't understand. This is not the Read podcast. This is called Journey to Forever. You're supposed to have my back. Why are you reading me?
That's another issue. The woman like being in control. That's another episode for a podcast. Okay, another
testy topic.
Yes.
Joe, I don't consider myself controlling.
Save it for the other time. Save it for what comes next, okay? Save it for the episode.
But I would say, if the situation...
See what I told you?
No, if the situation was reversed, would you not feel as though things were out of your control? I'm just asking. No, frankly.
No, I don't think so because I am not I don't believe to be a controlling kind of person. So if I would just be like, okay, and I would not give them the satisfaction of knowing, hey, we in control of this. I would be like, all right, if that makes you happy, see you. So they would not even see me even cringe.
I didn't cringe in front of...
I know, not you, but I'm talking about me. So that would be my way of handling it. I would make them think that I'm more happy than them.
Okay, but I'm not sure that you answer any question that I believe that I asked. In that, this decision is made. You can't unmake the decision, right? The decision is made.
Yeah.
Do you not think that you're in your personal, what is within your personal control? Don't you think that there's something that may make you feel like you are out of control of your life at that point in time? The mere fact that your primary source of income has been removed. That's what I'm talking about.
No.
Okay.
No. Remember, I'm different from you. I'm a lot calmer than you are. I am. Just that's the way it is. So out of control? No. They would not. It happens, I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? That's just my view of it. I'll be like, whatever.
Okay. So, people, I am not controlling. I would admit to being anxious. So, for me, I know this as an anxiously prone person. I was anxious. Because, listen, life don't stop.
Nope.
life doesn't stop. And as somebody said, the bank don't care whether you're making money or not, right? So for me, that's where my anxiety was heightened. The mere fact that responsibilities continued and, okay, what am I to do next? Right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's where a lot of the fear came in, the anxiety came in.
The unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that for me, another thing that helped, so after I got over the whole grieving letter story, I also found it very helpful that a core group of what I would call my work friends, we found a way to maintain a fortnightly conversation. So for me, that allowed me to deal with the transition a bit more. That's what I would say. Because here I was no longer in the organization, but there was still some familiarity or stability or commonness across my day. Yes, I wouldn't see them every day, but the mere fact that we would remain in touch, we would have conversations. That familiarity was very, very useful in trying to ease me into the new phase of life.
Yeah.
So for me, I knew that I am not a person as well to let everybody know my business. That's just me. I'm a private person. And yes, we have a podcast. I appreciate that. But we're talking about real feelings. We choose to share what we choose to share. But I'm not going to come on here and talk about every little detail
of your life.
Exactly.
You will give some life experiences, but life itself, you know.
Yeah.
Some things just need to be dealt with without other people's interference, you know, to skew whatever. So basically, you would not live your life to please the other people.
Yes.
What they might think.
Agree.
You know, you got to do what you got to do.
So for me, it took me a while to let people outside of my inner circle know what was happening for me. Right? Because I was just focusing on, what's next? That was the question that was ringing through my mind continuously. And I know that independent-minded part of me, Joe was careful not to kind of like come tapping on the wall all the time. He wasn't the nosy neighbor, honestly, I would admit. To the point where he surprised me. There was a point in time when I was able to say to him, X, Y, and Z is the case. And he decided to act. And he came home and he said, I hope you're not upset with me. Huh? And I watched him like, what happened? Like, in my mind, like, what on earth did you do?
I remember that.
And I know I honestly started panicking because I thought something was really wrong. And he said, no. I just made a few phone calls to some friends of mine because he basically reached out to his network. And I was like, babe, that's cool. Like, you know, why would I be upset about that? But that, for me, was a good reflection moment to say, oh, Flo, is it that you create the impression that you don't need no help? Joe, you can respond to that.
Yeah, sometimes. You know, there are certain things that need to tread lightly. You know? As I said, folks, she likes to be in charge. So that is a moment where you have to know, is she ready for this or not? You know, she likes basically to solve her own problems. You know, if something needs to be done, she wants to do it. She would not wait for a handout. She would not wait for you to come do it. She would just do it. You know, so you have to pick your moments and make sure that, hey, this is okay. But as you get to know her, you get to figure it out. Like, sometimes, well, not only her, sometimes you're a detriment to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That things that need to be done, you don't do because you thinking, yes, I could do it. But You really can't. You can't do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with accepting help.
Yep. So, moral of the story, people, be like me, as in maintain contact with people who you trust, who you know have your back, and at the same time, allow other people to help you.
Yeah, no problem. There is no one in this world who have done it all by themselves. People may tell you, I'm self-made, I'm this made, I'm that made.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in time, they usually neglect the one person that probably introduced them to a certain other person. And it was like, wow, from there it kicked off and they were on their way.
Yeah.
You know? So everybody needs somebody in this life. No matter how rich you are, how poor you are, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs somebody because it's genetically built in that humans are social creatures.
Yep. So, point number 2, leverage the power of your network. That's all I would say. The network starts within your immediate surroundings, your immediate family, your significant other, and then it goes out. So leverage that power. You know, as Joe pointed out, you never know who you can come in contact with because of that. And there is no shame in asking for help.
No.
Absolutely none. So for me, the third point was the biggest deal of all. The opportunity to redefine who Flo is, what Flo likes, what Flo doesn't like, what Flo's about, what does she want to do. And honestly, I remember having a conversation with Joe and I was like, Joe, this is my deadline. And the deadline was for us to publish the very first episode of this podcast. Because it was something that I wanted to do for years. I've mentioned that before. I called my former favorite radio station. The radio station no longer exists. And I spoke to someone and I declared my intention to that person years before Joe and I ever met. Years before. And this was the opportunity for me to say, okay, let's do this. And honestly, I'm so grateful that Joe was even willing to be my crazy co-host on this podcast, like to do this with me.
And folks, if you all think Flo is private, this is only out of love. I'm already doing this podcast. I'm telling the utter truth. Yeah, I don't think anyone else could have gotten me to do this.
And he's so good at it, people. Honestly, I see Joe shine. He has no idea. He has no idea how he comes across. I know it. I see it. His face lights up. He enjoys it in his own way.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun. I'm not lying. It's fun. I never thought I would have enjoyed it, but I do.
Yeah. So for me, it was an opportunity to do something that I had put on the back burner for a long time. So stop and ask yourself, what have you been waiting for? You know that excuse that we always make, oh, when I get time, I'll do X, Y, and Z. Then, you know, if you happen to be laid off, then make time. You have all the time in the world to do whatever that thing is. You know, it could just be a hobby. It could be whatever. You just schedule time and just make it happen. You know, or if you're not sure what to do, a good thing is to just volunteer, like find an organization and just volunteer. Because I know when you spend time helping other people, it really restores your soul. As someone who has worked or volunteered in nonprofit for over 13, 15 years, I know how rewarding that is. And because our jobs does play a part in giving our life purpose and in making us feel purposeful when we wake up and we do stuff, you know, it would be good if you don't have a full-time job now to just volunteer. Find some way to help somebody else out. It might be in your immediate community. It might be some sort of online situation, because that may help you rediscover Like, what do you want to do next with your life?
Yeah, broaden your horizons. Expand your network. Get to know people. Do a nice thing for someone each day. Just get out there and just have fun. Enjoy life.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Enjoy life.
But Joey, the title of this podcast was Love and Layoff. So I have to ask you, at any point in time in the subsequent months to being laid off, did you feel like burden to provide for both of us? Like, it's like, oh my God, this is on me now. Like, I need to do all of this.
I wouldn't use the word burden. I felt a slight feeling of responsibility.
Okay.
That I have to do what I have to do now.
Okay.
Because I have to step up, It comes a time when you need to stop even thinking about yourself. And it's not new to me because I've basically been doing that all my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just another page. And I know it's only for a time.
Okay.
It's only for a time. Everything in life is just for a time. So it's normal, You just have to make a few readjustments. But no, I was never, burden is not the word.
Okay.
My responsibility gene just kicked in.
All right. And I like the word readjustment because one thing that I've learned in this entire process and in redefining who I am, it really caused me to ask myself, what is really important? What do I really value? Now, when you have a certain amount of disposable income, you could do lots of things. Lots and lots of things. Anything your heart and your pocket would allow you to do. But thankfully, it provided me the opportunity to reevaluate the things that are really, really important. And for some people, they may have had habits and they're like, well, is that truly beneficial? Or is it just something that I just indulge? Was it a vice that I indulged in? So I also use the opportunity to just pause and take stock of things that I did that perhaps wasn't adding great value to my life, that I just say, okay, I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So use any sort of setback like that as the ideal platform for you to set up a better and brighter future for yourself. And that's my wish for anybody who is dealing with a situation like that. Being laid off is never easy, but find the road to the beautiful in it.
It's stressful. Let's just put it that way. It is stressful. It's emotionally stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking. You have no idea what you're going to do next. You're going to be confused. But just give yourself some time to adjust. Relax and think it through. Because I have a cousin and he always says, if you made money once, you can make it twice.
Okay.
And he does not worry about material things.
Okay.
That is, he say anything material, you could always get it back. You could always, because you did it already.
Mm-hmm.
So you're used to it. You know how to do it. So you can do it again.
Yeah.
So that's my advice to you. Take your time. Figure it out. Relax. Get yourself together. And go again. That's all. Dust yourself off and try again. That's it.
All right. Well, what I'm trying to do now is to move on to thing to eat. We're not emotionally eating today. No emotional stress eating. We just going to delve into the delightful delicacies. Joe, he always coming up with something interesting for us to discuss.
A simple question.
Mm-hmm.
We have been in lockdown for a long time.
Oh gosh, too long.
We're done almost 2 years. A year plus something. Almost 2 years. We round it off.
Mm-hmm.
So, we easing up on the lockdown a little bit where fast food was open, you had to take your food and scatter.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, have you missed fast food?
Nope. And I said it readily because Joanna had this conversation. I have learned to appreciate our sweet hand in the kitchen. And I'm not boasting. This is not self-aggrandizement. This is not a big up of myself. Honestly, I think that I learned to appreciate feeding my taste. Like whatever I desire, we would make it. We made pizza. We cook all kind of thing. And honestly, I have not missed it one bit. No.
It's something you realize, oh wait, now we can do this.
Yeah.
Usually I believe that people just lazy when it comes to that kind of thing.
It's been convenience.
Yes,
it's the convenience of it.
Yeah. It's like, nah, I ain't gonna go through all that work. True, you will be busy. You have a 9 to 5. You have children. You have all these things that would keep you busy, and you like the ease of just being able to order out or go get something, pick it up, and the calmness. But being at home, it adds a different element. You can connect, with the same children that you may be running after. You can get them incorporated, So it adds to the element of being at home, connecting family-wise. Yeah, it's fun and it's cheaper.
Yeah. So I agree. I echo all those sentiments. I have enjoyed the bonding time. And honestly, for me, I don't think that it takes as long to make somebody things that, you've desired in the past, and you tell yourself, well, it's just easier to go and buy something. Sometimes the line that you have to face to get fast food is just so frustrating.
Yeah.
And now, as we would have discussed in our last episode, vaccinate or terminate, even though we may be getting vaccinated, I'm still very cautious, absolutely cautious about how much I expose myself to others, and that includes in going to purchase food.
Yeah, because folks, you gotta remember, Rona is still out there.
Yep. And she doesn't look like she's gonna disappear anytime soon.
Right.
Yep. She's sticking around. What is sticking around? Well, what I hope will get you to stick around is by pouring into your love tank.
Let's see. What's filled my love tank, folks?
Mm-hmm.
My love tank. Let's put it this way. This week has been a stressful week because of the water situation. Folks, my word, it is, I have no idea what's wrong with the water company. Oh my, you get water very, it's erratic, all weird hours of the morning. And what filled my love tank was that we know it's a stressful period, but Flo, she was not nag like some other people would be. And I appreciated that. I don't like nagging, and she doesn't do that. She doesn't nag. So, yeah, that made me appreciate her a bit more this week, no matter how stressful it might have been with the water. But, little elements add up. No. So, we didn't want that. We didn't want any antagonizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't want any of that. So, it was good. So, I am grateful and happy that I was not nagged. I got to rest. We got to sit. We laughed. It was fun. And that added element of stress was not even there. It was like, oh yeah, no water. All right, cool. And we got by. So that filled my love tank this week.
Okay, but I find you're dodging something.
What's that?
Something that happened in the last 2 weeks. But clearly it wasn't memorable for you. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. Tell the people.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the people what you're speaking of.
Tell the people.
Yes, please.
Tell the people that you rip up another calendar. Oh, you didn't even pick up on what I was speaking about.
Oh.
Tell the people.
Tell the people.
Yes. So I thought Joe would have mentioned this, but people like clearly have work to do to point at Joe's love tank relevant to his celebrating another year on this planet.
Oh yeah.
But this was his second birthday you celebrated during lockdown.
Yeah. Right now like I'm a pandemic baby. I don't know.
Yeah, it is frustrating, but yeah, it was nice that you didn't make me feel a how about not being able to do a grand thing for you for your birthday. But we celebrated in our own small
my birthday
way.
was grand. Don't study Flo. My birthday was grand. I got cake, I got lunch, it was awesome, and I had my favorite meal. I had roti. Okay, so I was happy, I was pleased, I needed no more. So yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, I'm glad that your tank is filled.
Yes, and wait, we forgot.
What's that?
I got a new pair of headphones, folks.
Oh goodness.
Let's just say I'm so appreciative. I have named my headphones Bugatti. He is treating it as preciously as he would if he got a real Bugatti. Yes, it's important. I love them.
Okay. So, what's filled my love tank? Honestly, people, I have to say that Joe listens. And yes, that's a quality that you always look for in a partner. But it's nice when, yes, as he mentioned, you don't have to nag. You can have a conversation with them once, with your partner once, and the person really hears you to the point where they make a change. So Joe knows I had a request for a long time, and he fulfilled said request. So I am happy that I was heard and listened to. That's filled my love tank. That's all I would say about that.
All right.
Yes, people. So as we wrap up today's episode, again, we know that these times are very distressing for a lot of people. And if you are one of the unfortunate ones to have been laid off, we wish you all the resilience. We send all the positive vibes your way. And hopefully that you surround yourself with a good support team, people that will see you through this challenging time. And if you are so fortunate to still be employed, then remember to help out someone who is less fortunate than you. We're all about sharing the love here on the Journey to Forever podcast. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Journey to Forever podcast. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to have you join the Forever family by connecting with us on Instagram at Journey to Forever TT, and by subscribing to this podcast on whatever app you're listening to this episode on. In this family, we believe that sharing is caring, so be sure to share and discuss this episode with someone you love. Until next time, remember that forever love is a journey, not a destination, and the fuel that keeps you going is communication. Bye.
Have a great one, folks. Bye.